Now I'm going to present some data that might challenge some of your all's belief. I know it would have challenged me 15, 20 years ago when I had that position that, oh, come on, we're letting them off the hook. So this is targeted at, and we're doing some work in a couple of jurisdictions around exhaustive efforts for truancy or school complaints and low-level delinquency referrals. Students involved in the justice system did not experience any attendance improvement. In fact, had worse attendance for those that were petitioned into the juvenile court for that kind of truancy or sins, fins behavior, as it's characterized across the country with the different front-end letter. The tools most familiar to the juvenile justice system, we know what they are. We know what we turn to. I know what I turn to. They're not in the room. I don't want anyone yelling at me from the bench. I want to make it out of here. You know, I've got a weekend full of football to attend. I don't want to be detained by your judges. Tools familiar and readily available to the juvenile justice system. Court mandates, you can read them. Compliance checks, sanctions, supervision appointments, detention, out-of-home placement. Totally negative effect. There's no studies that suggest this actually has an impact on low-level delinquency and reoffending or the recurrence of truancy. The justice system is ill-equipped to produce the kind of outcomes we can produce when we take a different approach to holding them accountable, to providing services and program interventions that interrupt this behavior. I'm probably striking it right at the heart of some of you when I said that, but there's no research supporting that any of those provisions improve what we're faced with when we get those complaints in the juvenile justice system. So once again, I ask, why would we do that? Okay. Developmental approaches, and obviously you've started to hear about some of those, as a result of that reliance, let's make sure we're not behind the curve when we're already working to be ahead of the curve effectively here in Ada County. By perhaps looking at what has happened across the country when they've embraced these approaches and understood that this research should at least reduce these kinds of responses for these youth.